Hey guys, it's me, EODGamerZ here, and Harumasa, free character coming to the game. All of us are gonna have him. So let me share with you real quickly how to build him in case any of you don't want like super long details and stuff like that. Straight to the point, let's start off first with what sets to prepare for him. There are many options. There are no standout winners. I can just say that. None is gonna be as outperforming as Soldier 11's Fire set or Miyabi's signature set that's coming out in the game, the crit damage one that's coming out 1.4. My recommendation, I will go for a two-piece combo because it's just so flexible. He might eventually get a new set in future because none is like super standout for him. Two-piece Woodpecker Electro, two-piece Thunder Metal or Puffer Electro. I'll choose either one of this. And last but not least, a two-piece crit damage of the new one, the Miyabi set that's coming out 1.4. That will be probably my go-to set for flexibility to transition over to maybe a dedicated set in future, since he also doesn't have a standout. So why these few ones is very simple. He's a crit rate, crit damage, attack scaling DPS of the electric attack element and class. So he's the typical DPS over here. But where it comes tricky is whether you want to go for pen ratio or whether you do not. We'll talk about that in a bit. Especially for this character, that's the one that is the biggest thing that you need to consider. But other than this two-piece combo, if you guys don't want to farm the main set, you want to like make your Harumasa ready so far, four-piece Woodpecker Electro probably might be my favorite out of all of them. Four-piece Woodpecker Electro, and then your last two should be either the crit damage, Thunder Metal, or Puffer Electro. Take the one that your best sets. I like the crit damage gear a little bit more, but my first topic is two-piece. So onto the topic of pen ratio. Why did I say that pen ratio is the most trickiest for this character? And that is, let's talk about slot number 5 main stat. Out of all the characters in the game, he is the first electric attack DPS. What that means is he has access to Rena, who is able to provide a lot of pen ratio to the entire team. So let me just show you again for those of you who do not have Rena, and once you kill like 300 tickets, you can pick her up. So as you can see here, her core passive, you don't even need an additional ability to be proc, can transfer over the entirety of this pen ratio over to your other characters. And she can go in a short rotation, so does Harumasa also not mind a short rotation. We'll put out our mechanics guide and teaching you how to play him on a later date as well, but I want to give you the build guides first. So a lot of pen ratio already. And you hardly play Rena with non-electric characters. That is why Harumasa is one of the strongest candidates for deviating away from pen ratio, because he already gets a lot of it from a very, very solid S rank character. In that case, if you have Rena, pen ratio becomes very low priority. I would definitely consider electric damage bonus instead. But if you're playing with other supports in the game, for example, like you're playing with Lucy, you're playing with Caesar and stuff, that is when you can consider pen or electric bonus, depending on which one your preference is. Personally, I would just go for electric damage bonus. I think it's a lot simpler, regardless of whether you have Rena, have her, take her out. You don't have to worry about like swapping your gear around and stuff like that. It's very, very straightforward. It works both with and without Rena. I think that is probably my recommendation. For slot 6, super easy. Attack percentage is really very good. I think that's all you really need. Energy regen, some people might consider it as well, a smaller minority of people. If you feel like you need a lot more energy regen on him because you can't stun the enemy fast enough, you can't proc enough anomaly on them, then you can consider getting a two-piece energy regen. Don't get it in the main stat. He'd much rather like a lot more attack. For 4, super easy. You either go for crit damage if you have a W engine that gives you crit rate. Go for crit rate if you do not have a W engine that gives you crit at all. Just go for the opposite. Crit rate just to get the minimum is very good. For substats, I will focus on crit damage in terms of substats. Then go for crit rate, attack, and lowest priority is pen. And of course, anomaly proficiency is never bad if you can pick a little bit up on it, but not super critical since he likely plays into a lot of electric teams, as we will talk about in a bit. W engines for Harumasa. Now, there are going to be 2 new W engines coming up. This is, of course, filmed on 1.3 version. His signature going to be his best in slot, but there's also even one that comes pretty close conditionally. But let's talk about some of the other one here first, and I'll update this once we have the event, Light Cone, W engine official information as well. First things first, I think out of all the A ranks, I like Starlight Engine, most decent out of all of them for free-to-play players. Can't really go wrong. But Drill Rig Red Axis, traditionally used on Anton, is also pretty decent. Although energy regen, he doesn't need a lot of it, but he doesn't mind it as well to help him proc his passives, quivers more often as well. Over here, you get damage increase, electric damage bonus from dash attack by 50%. This is huge because it's exactly what he needs. His main kit revolves around dash attacks anyway. So I will actually think of Drill Rig break axis. But the problem with this is you will be lacking a lot of attack percentage. So hopefully you have a character, for example, like Rena, you have a stat balancer like Lucy, Caesar, all these kind of characters to give him the attack to supplement him. But overall, I think this is quite nice. If you have this electric damage bonus over here, you can consider running attack damage bonus instead of running electric damage bonus instead. So that would be quite nice. So you got a good amount of attack to supplement. Other options, now we talked about 1, 2 free-to-play ones. This one is like a limited, so it's not exactly free-to-play. Cannon Rotor is a battle pass one. I think I like this best out of all of the free-to-play gear, including any event like Kun that will be coming into the game, possibly. But of course, it's $10 for what it's worth. It gives you a lot of crit rate stat that he doesn't mind. Then you can gear better into crit damage in your main stat for slot number 4. Other than that, for S rank, he also does have quite a few options if you don't plan to pull his signature. For any of you who has Deep Sea Visitor, this is not that great, but it gives you crit rate if you are just looking for like the main stat. The one that I like the most probably is like Riot Suppressor Mark 6, because you get actually a lot of stats. You get massive crit damage, you get good amounts of crit rate, which really just helps him balance his stat together with the massive attack. This is a humongous stat stick. So if you have this already and you're like swapping characters around because you no longer need Aether, you're tackling some electric content, just slap it on a Harumasa. You don't have to pull a brand new signature for him. This is like really, really good as well. Other than that, the other two W engines, Steel Cushion gives you that crit that you need, which is nice. However, I don't think it's like super good. If you really have no choice, it's just a stat stick. Brimstone, also another massive stat stick. This gives you a lot of attack percentage, which means if you have this, I would actually consider going for energy regen from my slot 6 for his drive this gearing, as well as like slot number 5, you're definitely either going pen or electric. Never going to consider attack bonus, because this one gives you a lot of attack percentage. And already the very high base attack for Brimstone. So that will be my considerations for his W engines. And this section here is all about Bang Boost. I know you guys have requested a dedicated section for Bang Boost, and I just want to like give it back to you. And if you're finding value in this video so far, of course, do help me like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you appreciate such content. We'll be doing more of these guides and more Harumasa content once he goes live too. Overall, he wants to play into anomaly and stun teams, and he does better when the enemy are stunned or anomalied. So for any of you who put anomaly based Bang Boost, there are so many out there. My advice is to pair the anomaly with the character that you're trying to prop the anomaly with, your best buffer. If you are running Harumasa as the only electric, go with like a anomaly electric buffer. Where is that electric guy? This one here, or the S rank equivalent. If you are just running like Harumasa and you don't really care like mono electric teams, I will go with this guy. If you are running, for example, like Bernice and other stuff, you can run other characters that give you like the fire anomaly build up and stuff, because you do want to prop that anomaly for him as much as you can. Doesn't really care who props it, but that will be my recommendation. Don't have to stay with electric, you can go to others. And of course, if you're always like confused what you are going to run, you don't really have a choice. You had the Butler Boo, who's like super generalistic. Anyway, you're probably going to have a character like Rena in the same team, so you can actually have a high chance of blocking it, especially if you're running like Lycan in the last slot and stuff like that. If you really wanted to, like a team of double Rena plus Lycan plus Harumasa, I think that would be quite an interesting combination. For the Bang Boost, that will be my thought process. Now, last but not least, of course, some team members that are really good. This is the rise of Rena. Everyone has for free Harumasa, and Rena is the best in class electric buffer ever. We talked about it like 3-4 months ago, that when she's going to outperform, and this is the day that Rena is going to shine. She gives everyone 10% electric damage bonus. On top of that, she extends the duration of shock, which is fantastic. At the same time, of course, she gives a massive amount of pen ratio to the entire team, and she has the Drusilla, and as well as the gimmick where she doesn't really stay on field a super long time unless she has an M1, but she still works pretty well without her critical M1. If you guys have M1 Rena, make sure you're using her. She's really strong. Even I don't have her, but I think she's also going to be really good. So best in class support. Some other options definitely is going to be your Yanagi anomaly characters, because he works really well with anomaly characters, as we talked about on the teams video already. Yanagi, Bernice, but these are all expensive characters. Some of you may not have the pool of characters that I have over here. In that case, I recommend you check out this video right here. We talk about Harumasa team comms, where we talk about team comms for even players with no S ranks at all. Anyone will find value there. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Stay tuned to our channel. We'll be doing more Harumasa mechanics guide. I know it's quite confusing, and see you guys in the next video.